Alrighty, welcome back, boys and girls. From yesterday, again, you should be finished with the function notes. Again, they had the input-output table, the function table where you plugged in your rule and you came out with a y value, which was your output. So again, if you did not finish that yet, make sure you go to the previous video and pause this one, go to the previous video, finish that up. That way you're all caught up. All right, I think they're gone. All right, so now if you're on this page, this is it's called a graphic organizer, and kind of what this is doing is you're splitting up several ideas that are all representations of relations, but you want to be able to isolate it and have one at a time, so that way it's a little bit easier to manage. So I'm going to start in the top left, and I'm going to work my way clockwise around, and I'm going to end with graphing. So first is the ordered pairs. So as you know, we move through this video, and like most of the other videos, if you need to pause, write anything down, rewind, please do. Do not hesitate, don't miss a thing. That way you stay up to date. So with ordered pairs, we always write the ordered pairs in curly brackets with commas in between each ordered pair. And the reason we do that is you're trying to make sure you're showing that it's a set of ordered pairs. And so for instance, if we have the ordered pairs like this, again, when we have our brackets like that, parentheses showing it's an ordered pair, so we have our x value or y value, and then that is just 1 point, and then you move on to the other points. So in total, this is 4 points. So you have the points 1, 5, -2, 5, 4, and 3, and the last point is -3, -3. That closed bracket on the far right, it can be a tricky one to draw out. As long as you're at least attempting it and making it something along those lines, that's totally fine. So now you're kind of thinking, okay, Mr. Shank, what are we looking at here? So you're always looking to see, since it's a set of values, you know it's going to be a relation. So since it's a set of ordered pairs, just like this, you know automatically it's going to be a relation. So now, is there any repeating values? Well, we can see, hey, there's a 5 here and a 5 here, but that's the y value, which is totally fine. As long as we don't have any repeated x values, this is going to be a function. So you automatically know each and every time you look at those values, you look at your graph, you can be able to determine if it's a relation or a function. If you need to pause and make sure you have all this written down, please do. All right, moving on. So now to the right of that, you have the table. And so you have worked with this in previous grades before, and we have already touched on it with the function table. But again, it's just the input values are always the x, the output values are always the y, and then you have the horizontal table. So this one comes up every once in a while, and it's exactly the same as what you're used to. So it's making those ordered pairs that we had in the last slide. You have the first order pairs 1, 5, and you have -2, 5, so on and so forth. So again, it's just going to have the horizontal table where the x is on top, and then again you're going to have your normal vertical table is going to be like so. So again, it's going to be 1, 5, -2, 5, 4, 3, which this should be, now that I'm seeing it, I'll make the change. This should be a 3 right there. Everybody makes mistakes, so do I. We're human. We adapt, change, and overcome. So that last point at the very bottom is going to be that -3, -3 for both the x and the y. And so for the vertical table, that x value is on the left column. So again, make that correction. Make sure you have all this down. If you need to pause, if you need to catch a breath, I know I do, take a sip of water, move on. All right, so the mapping diagram, this one is a little bit newer. It's it's more of a rare one, but it does come up, and I just want you guys to make sure that you're at least having a sense of awareness of what's going on with it. It's the same kind of similar idea. So what you're doing is you're in the left box or oval, you write all the inputs, which is your x, and you do not repeat the values. So even if even if you have a relation that has repeated x values, you only write them once. Okay, and you'll see what I'm talking about down here. So in the right box, however, you have your now outputs. And so same kind of deal, you're going to not repeat those values. Let's cross that T and dot our I's. And so to make those ordered pairs, though, you draw an arrow from each input value to each output value. And so as the example, still using those same ordered pairs, this is kind of what it looks like. So again, you had, what I did here was I wrote input, I wrote output, I listed my values from least to greatest, and then I listed my values from least to greatest, and I matched up the ordered pairs. So the one ordered pair is -3, -3. The other ordered pair is -2, 5. Another ordered pair is 1, 5. And the last ordered pair is 4, 3. So again, make sure you're seeing how this is going. These two x values, even though we input them, they're different x values, you're still ending up with the same output. So that's why we only write the 5 once over here. This comes up every once in a while. Make sure you're at least kind of getting a sense for it. It's pretty simple and straightforward once you have that picture drawn out, and if you're making sure that those lines are nice and clear and they're not too sloppy, you should be fine. If you need to pause to make sure you have all this written down, please do. Even if it's not the best handwriting or not the best explanation, it's at least an attempt. Okay, moving on. So now underneath of it, you have, towards the bottom of your page, you have the new terms for this year, which you should have seen day one as soon as you came to school, because this is outside my door. So when you're seeing it, you see how it has Shank's domain going across, and then on the side of the door it has the range going vertically. So that corresponds to our points here. So it's saying that the range is the y value, so that's our output. That's our vertical axis again. So any of our y values that we have, we write it like this. And so you're going to have R standing for range, and then you have a colon in those brackets and the commas just like before. Again, I don't have to write another 5 since it's already in here. I just have to write it once. Mathematicians, they're pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. Now for the domain, similar idea. It's just going to be your x values, which is your input. And so when you list them, it's the same kind of setup. You have your letter, colon, braces or brackets, whatever you want to call them, and then you have your values from left to right. Again, these are not repeated. Again, these are each unique points, and so this is still a function. If you need to pause and kind of readjust and reconfigure your paper or anything like that, it's a good place to pause, take a deep breath, and then you can move on. So lastly, and not leastly though, you have your graph. Always make sure you know where you're at on that graph. It doesn't matter if there's no numbers or not, you at least know your origin. So always start at that origin. That's why I'm trying to make sure you guys are doing that correctly, left to right, and then up to down. So it's going to be, once you plot those points, it's going to look like this. Again, if I wanted to plot the point -3, -3, again, I go 1, 2, 3 to the left, and then 3 down. 1, 2, 3. And you do that same setup. Make sure you're taking your time as you do it. If you kind of rush around and hope for the best, your graph is going to be all over the place and you're going to lose control and you're going to panic and then you don't know what to do. As long as if you make a mistake, totally fine. Erase it, take a deep breath, make sure it's correct, make sure it makes sense, and then you're good.